Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Have You Ever Played podcast, the only podcast that blames the camera in a children's video game consistently. I am Matt Fondude, aka Matt. That's the same. I've done that backwards twice now. I'm committed to the bit. And I'm with my co host here.
I'm James, James04E on most social media platforms, and James04E on Instagram.
You know what, James? You nailed it. We had a bit off camera where we were gonna do a cold open where James is British now inexplicably, and honestly, the way you prepped me by saying like I'm just gonna send it, no practice, I thought it was gonna be bad. It was surprisingly decent.
I'm glad I'm a very good British person.
Okay, I mean let's never do it again.
Yeah,
Uh, as
definitely.
to not offend our friends in the kingdom, is that I think that's what they call it.
The kingdom.
Something like that. One of they're united. I don't know. Who knows?
Oh, man.
Well, welcome to the Have You Ever Played podcast, the podcast that serves as a book club for games almost. And today we're going to be talking about the second half of Mario 64. James and I beat the game. Well, I don't know if he beat the game. I did.
I did.
Uh,
Uh, that's
yeah,
all I'll comment. I did, in fact, beat the game.
yeah. I did a 69 star run. I don't know if you got 70 stars, but I did 69 stars for the culture.
Wait, how do you.
Um,
You were able to access it without. Ow.
Well, I got 69 stars, then I just BLJ'd, which is backwards long jumping up the infinite staircase, which is like a little speedrun
Oh,
tech. I
oh,
just did
I
it for
see.
the just
Okay.
to be funny, just to make myself laugh, which I tend to do in video games a lot.
Man.
But yeah, we decided, and by decided I mean we got some comments about previous episodes where we jumped around a little too much. So I kind of want to have some structure, and we're gonna take it back. I think we're gonna run through all the levels in the game because there's not that many, and kind of give our opinion on them and what we experienced and talk about the game in general as we go. And since we didn't talk too much about the levels in the previous episode, I think we'll start us off at Bomb Bomb Battlefield, the first level of the game. James, what was your experience with that level?
I thought it was lots of fun. It was a really cool like introduction to the game. I liked that they had all the like signs around to kind of tell you how to do all the basic stuff and like the fancy stuff like the long jumps and all those things.
Hmm.
Um, I think it was really cool that they had you utilizing areas multiple times, like the mountain that they had. You would use it at the start to get up to the giant bomb, and you also use it during your race with the Koopa. And I believe you had to use it when you were trying to shoot through the coins in the sky.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a good introductory level that gives you all the different elements. Like there's a lot of elements in that level. Like the wing cap is also used later. It's a pretty good example of what you can expect in a level in this game, and something that I appreciate about it that we'll definitely talk about later on the later levels is its simplicity and lack of complex platforming
Yes.
yeah, there's a very simple, you can run through the stage. It's not that hard. You're having a good time. The camera isn't like constantly rotating in your face, and you're not having to jump between death poles and dying off the stage. There's no death pits. It's just a
Yeah.
nice good old Mario time. And we neglected to talk about the music at all in this game, known for like banging tunes like Bomb on Battlefield's theme,
Yes.
which is absolutely slaps. And James, did you notice that themes were reused in other levels too?
Yeah, I did notice occasionally. I will say the music, like it's so like it. They're all such classic songs that I almost didn't notice them at times. Like it just felt natural. Like yeah, I'm playing Mario, and of course this music's playing. I know this stuff.
Hmm.
But I did notice when they reuse them sometimes, and I thought it was actually kind of cool. I know some people might consider it a little lazy, but I think that the fact that they under it's almost like they understood that these songs are are going to be very well liked.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it also did save them some money and time, and it
Yeah, of
is
course.
weird to think that everyone's out here being like, "Bob on Battlefield, that's my favorite song," but no one's out here being like, "Oh yeah, oh that's the Tall Tall Mountain theme." I think they share the same theme, or one of the stages has like the same theme, and it's like, wow,
Yeah,
someone on the internet is like, oh man, I love that theme from that level, and they're talking about Bomb on Battlefield, but it is used throughout other levels, so
yeah,
that is kind of a weird thing to think about in an OST. But yeah, I guess some classics include the slide song is a great one. Uh,
yep.
the water level theme, which I forget what the actual name of the theme is.
You mean the Jolly Roger Bay level theme?
Yeah, I think it's the one where it's like the classic Mario like water level song that's just
Yeah,
like super relaxing and nice. Lo-fi study beats material, if you will.
of course.
Yeah. Um. Oh, actually, maybe we should talk about the castle itself because that's a level technically. It's a hub world.
Yeah, yeah, you can consider it a level. I did think it was a lot more fun to just walk around in the castle than I remember. They did a lot to make sure that it doesn't feel very samey as you're going through it. Like there are some areas that do look a little different,
Hmm.
and I also think that like the little secret area that like led you to the haunted castle. I can't remember what the level name was, but Big Boo's haunt. Yeah, the area that led you to
Yes.
there. I thought that was a little really cool thing that I just kind of like stumbled upon very naturally. The game didn't need to do anything special to direct me there.
Yeah, I really appreciate the amount of like secrets and kind of hidden things throughout this game, especially within the hub world of the castle. There is a ton of weird things that you could totally miss. Like I kept remembering in the DS version of the game, there's a snowman level where it's like hidden somewhere. I think in that mirror room later on. And I did not find it during my playthrough this time because I thought it was just in the DS version. But spoiler, jumping ahead, in the credits you see a little glimpse of it. Did you end up going to the snowman room, snowman's land?
Snowman's Land.
Yeah.
So I actually only found it because I also remembered it, and I looked it up because there's no way I
Hmm.
thought there's no way I'm not finding this.
Not to jump ahead, but to jump ahead, like we said we weren't going to do. How did you unlock that? Because I just didn't find it.
I don't even remember. I literally, I
It,
looked up
it
a tutorial and I just followed their steps.
it must have been in the mirror room or
Yeah,
something.
I think it was in there. I mean,
Yeah. It is funny though that we're having like secrets discourse like we're on like the playground when this game came out. And I think that is a big part of the charm of Mario 64. And I think this game has a lot of charm and I think that charm can kind of wear off toward the end of the game if you're trying to beat it because some of
yeah.
that charm turns into jank, which we'll talk about as we go on. But while James is looking up the secret instructions, I think we
Oh,
can
yeah,
probably move on
yeah, yeah.
to Wom's Fortress.
So the way you actually discover it is it's like when you look away, you can see it, but when you look at it, you can't. You need
Oh,
to like jump at it while you're not looking at it or something like that.
that's
And it
really
like
weird.
reveals itself. It's bizarre. It's like to the left
That's a
in the mirror
Nintendo
room.
power moment right there.
Yeah,
Like,
110%.
if we're
I would
playing these
hate to
older
be
games, yeah.
I would hate to be the guy that designed that that designed that. And I'm like, wait, you mean most of the people that are playing the game aren't going to be able to experience this?
But it is clever they put it in the
Yeah,
credits screen because then people are going to be like, how do I get to that level? I didn't see it.
yeah,
But anyway, Wom's Fortress, if you remember, is you scale the giant tower. There's an owl
hmm
that flies you around. There's a boss fight, which I honestly forgot this game had multiple boss fights outside of
yeah,
Bowser, which we can talk about. We'll see if you got each boss fight. As we go to each level.
yeah.
So you fought Womp, right? Womp's
Yes, yes, I
Fortress.
did. Uh,
Hmm.
to be honest, this is another one where it's kind of like it's the twirling mustache being like, oh, you'll never do a ground slam on my back while I'm on the ground. Ha ha
Oh
ha.
yeah,
Like, yeah, that was I had a good laugh playing that, but I think generally this level was pretty cool. I thought that the different kinds of enemies, like the sleeping oh god, what are they called?
what is
I'm
it? Piranha
forgetting.
Plant?
Yeah, yeah, the sleeping piranha plants were cool. Then I also thought there's the enemies that like the ones that like crush into the ground and you can like jump on
Oh,
top of them to get.
Thwomps.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Those are really cool to interact with too. Like collecting the red coins on that level were I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, everything about it, like it's still early on in the game. It's very quick and easy. There's a lot of ways to solve the puzzles. You can wall jump, you can backflip wall jump to grab stars. You can climb up the tower. There's a lot of ways to get the stars that are either the intended way or unintended. Just kind of you're doing your own thing. And again, there's not a huge risk of instantly dying and having to restart the level, which we'll get to as we go on.
Yeah,
Nothing too notable about this stage. It's just a pretty good stage overall.
yeah. To kind of build off of that, I did enjoy that they allowed you to collect these stars and stuff in multiple ways that included the like fancy movement tech things that you could do, but didn't require them
Hmm.
necessarily.
And it
Yeah,
felt good to return to this level too.
yeah,
Like if you were playing earlier, like if you were playing this on your first playthrough and you didn't know all these different techniques, you would get some stars, but you would return later on with knowledge, and then you kind of could blast through and get a lot of the other stars.
yeah,
uh Jolly Roger Bay, which is the one we were talking about, the pirate ship water level, which I thought was like the music's probably the best part of that level. It's fine.
yeah.
There's some memorable stars there, like the
Yeah,
eel.
outside of the music, I thought it was okay. The eel was a little weird at times. I think I glitched it once, or it just like wouldn't leave. I sat there for like half an hour, and I'm just thinking I have to be missing something. Like there's got to be something that I'm not doing right now that I should be doing. It turns out I just had to restart the game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this old game. Eel, I mean, there's a couple cool stars there. It's not
Yeah,
like the it's kind of slow. It's probably one of the better water levels. I think it beats like Dire or yeah, Dire. Wait a minute. It beats Wet Dry World, Dire Docks. I kind of am forgetting what. I had to look at a screenshot of this level real quick.
I
Oh yeah,
I
that's the one
barely
with
even remember
Bowser's
that level
sub or
actually.
something.
Yeah,
That's a forgettable level to be honest.
yeah, it was.
Outside of the
I forgot
sub,
it existed until you mentioned it.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Jolly Roger Bay. I mean, it's what it's a good iconic level, but it's not like the most fun.
Yeah.
Cool Mountain on the other hand is a pretty fun
Oh
level.
my god. Yes.
I
The
like it. The music, there's slide races, which I think the slide races are a lot of fun in this game.
Yeah, those were really fun. I think
Did
my
yeah.
favorite part was the little penguin. I think that's the ultimate litmus test for if you're a good person or not. Whether
Hmm.
you drop the penguin off of the mountain.
And you dropped the penguin off, right?
As a child, I did. Um,
Okay.
and the funny thing about that is, I'm pretty sure it was actually because I didn't know where to go because I just hadn't paid attention at all. So I'm like, you know what? I've been carrying around this penguin for so long. It's not giving me instructions. It's not doing anything. Screw it. I'm just throwing it off the map.
So your childhood instinct is to immediately like, oh, I don't know what to
Yeah,
do. All right, immediately kill the child.
yeah. When I came back to this level, I walked towards the cliff and I'm like, wait a minute. I just unlocked so many repressed memories. It's crazy.
Hmm.
I just it was crazy the amount of things I just remembered that I did in that level. All the times that I slid down with the little penguin. All the times I got crushed or beaten up by those things jumping on the bridge.
Oh, the
Then I just returned the
snowman.
penguin to the
Yeah.
big penguin, and I was like, wow, I I've finally completed my life mission. I've closed the book on my childhood. I finally knew what to do with the penguin.
Yeah. Did you go? So you went like the really like Boy Scouts route. Like you really went all the way around the mountain. You didn't just like jump off the mountain with the
Yeah,
penguin.
I went all the way around the mountain, like
Oh wow.
slid down.
Yeah. I just kind of like tried my best. I got that star. Do you remember ever playing this as a kid? Did you fall for the bait of the penguin at the bottom? Because I know I did. There's like a false imposter penguin that is right above the mother penguin, and you try to give her that penguin. He's like, "That's not my child."
Oh yeah, I actually don't think I ever like interacted with that one. I think I kind of noticed it, but I didn't really like do anything with it.
Yeah, his existence is to be a bit, and then he
Mm,
gets thrown off the mountain, and it's just it's a sad life for that penguin.
man,
Yeah, there's some complex moral choices in Mario 64 that rival Fallout 4, I would say, in the choices you can make.
indeed,
But yeah, that's that level. I would say we can kind of skim through these earlier ones a bit. Boo's, I mean, Big Boo's haunt. I think comes back. That's like an anytime once you've unlocked. So actually, that's after the
Yeah.
first Bowser stage. And all the Bowser stages I think are fun. The fights are stupid and bad, but
Yeah.
all the stages are fun. Yep. Sorry about that. We had to take a quick break. James is receiving some sort of wet meat that needs to immediately be placed into a containment unit. I don't know what actually you're getting. I'm assuming it's food.
Yeah, it was just some food that my parents like ordered or something.
Okay, so it was just like it had a timer. If it was gonna sit outside, the wolves would have started gathering.
Yeah, definitely. The coyotes would come
Oh
to
yeah.
claim their prey.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna say your entire home address on the podcast. um. Anyway, we were talking about I think penguin murder and well we moved past that. Oh yeah, Big Boo's haunt. This is
Yep.
kind of a stage you could kind of visit anytime after the first Bowser. So I came back here throughout the game.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it's a really cool stage, but some of the stars are really confusing, and I chose not to come here that often.
I'm not gonna lie. I came here once, did the whole shebang with the spooky piano and stuff, and I just never came back.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Like, I think that's kind of the beauty of Mario 64. You can pick and choose what stars you want to do. If you're doing a 70 star, just trying to beat the game.
Yeah.
And if there's any star that is annoying, you just leave. Just don't do it. There's plenty of stars to get you through
Yeah.
the game.
Problems arise when all the stars are annoying, though.
That's, I mean, fair enough. As we'll get down the list, all the stars become more annoying.
Yes.
But Big Boo's haunt has the King Boo boss fight technically, but it's just
Hmm.
hit Boo 3 times. I don't know if you did that. That's one of
Yeah,
the
I think that was the
bosses.
only one that I think that was the only one I did.
Boo Hoo sounds like a thwomp. Every enemy in this game just goes.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
One of the weaker bosses, but a cool, probably one of the cooler areas in the game, especially
Hmm.
because it's like an optional thing. It's a little spooky Halloween area too. One of the stars there requires you to get onto the roof, which I had a lot of trouble with, and I kept falling off of the roof and then having to walk slowly through the mansion, going up the stairs and slowly going over, trying again, falling. And that becomes very apparent throughout the stages later on of trying to do one thing, like one jump, falling, and then spending 5 minutes walking to the jump again. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
had that experience.
I had that experience many times.
Yeah.
If
Um,
we once we get to Lethal Lava Land, we'll talk about that a lot.
okay. Oh, I know exactly what you're going to be talking about. All
Yeah.
right, so before Lethal Lava Land, we have Hazy Maze Cave, which I think is also a pretty cool level. It's the level where there's a bunch of rolling rocks and you unlock the metal cap, and there's
Yeah.
like a dinosaur and all kind of crazy stuff happening.
Yeah. The dinosaur was really cool because you basically control it by changing the direction that Mario's facing once
Oh, I
you've
didn't know
jumped on
that.
its head. Yeah, it was real. I really liked that,
Did
especially
you?
given how
Mhm.
wonky the camera is. It was very nice to have that much control.
Did you find out that you could like ground pound? I think it's Dory, the dinosaur's back, and
Yeah.
then they would lower their head. I didn't realize that until I played this, because I kept jumping to the head without doing that. But yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
luckily,
I just
yeah.
thought it was a boss, so I just
Oh,
ground pounded it.
fair enough. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that level's actually pretty. It has a fire remix of Underground theme from like
Yeah.
Mario. It's kind of
The
spooky.
I
It's got
believe this was the level
exploration.
that had like the spider thingies, like the bugs
Uh,
with weird
yeah,
legs.
it has some of the spiders that walk on the land.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a cool level. I think
Hmm.
it feels good to explore. Um, but then there's the so at this point in time, by the way, in Bowser's castle, after every time you beat a Bowser level, you gain access to a new part of the castle, which gives you new levels and secrets and stuff, which I think is a cool mechanic.
Yeah.
And in speed runs, you just skip everything by skipping around in the hub world, which I think is also cool. It makes the speed run cool. But this set of levels of Hazy Maze Cave and like Lethal Lava Land and Shifting Sand Land and all that stuff, they're kind of in the lower level and Dire Docks. And I think these lower levels are pretty good still. I think. There's some frustrating elements. They start to ease you into the BS.
Yeah.
Like in Lethal Lava Land, you want to explain what your problem was with that stage?
Yeah, so I really liked the stage with like the bullies and stuff like that. Like I thought all that stuff was cool. But then there was the one part where you had to go inside of the volcano. And I remember it was called Elevator Tour on the Volcano.
Yep.
And I just couldn't get my camera to be in the right position where I could see myself while I'm shimmying up one of the poles. And at the top of the pole there was this rotating fire thing. And so I'd always get to the top, try to jump, hit the rotating fire thing because I can't see, and then Mario would do his whole thing where like he's gotten hit by fire, you know, he's jumping
He goes
around and all
ha
that
ha ha
stuff.
ha ha ha. Yes.
Yeah, and then I'd fall off of that back into the lava, get hit by the lava like twice, and if I didn't die, I have to find my way back to the elevator thing and do it all again.
Yeah, and at least the one nice thing is it'll checkpoint you there. Like
Yeah,
sometimes when you're entering a new area, it'll give you a checkpoint. Although it'll still eject you from the painting, making you wait and then go back into the level.
yeah,
Um, but it feels like at this point there's a shift in, and the difficulty of some of the stars comes from, okay, we're gonna have one jump, and it's not a difficult jump, but we're gonna lock the camera for some reason, and you're gonna jump and miss completely because there's a weird depth perception issue happening,
yep,
and then you're gonna fall and die, and then it's gonna just take you like 5 minutes to get back to where you were to make the same one jump again. And you're like, this isn't difficult. In any other game, it would be fine. It's I'm the boss fight is the camera and Mario's movement, because sometimes Mario, if you're facing one direction and you want to make a full like 180 turn or whatever, he has to manually turn himself, which will end up having him walk off ledges because he's doing a turning animation.
yeah,
And it's just like when you're on these tiny platforms, and they love to just put these little fire spitters everywhere just to because they know they're
yes.
gonna knock you off. And there's no other
Oh my
difficulty outside
god.
of they're like, all right, this we're gonna have to make it kind of wonky, and otherwise it's going to be too easy. But it's hard for them to actually make something interesting and challenging.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the other Lethal Lava Land stars were pretty not good though, like the log. Although the
Yeah, the
log
log I
you could just
just
skip.
yeah, I just skipped it. I just jumped into the lava.
Yeah. Um, but you get that level Lethal Lava Land is the first taste of defeat. And I think Shifting Sandland has a little bit of that going on, but they give you the wing cap, so
Yeah.
you don't have to die. And I think you're looking quizzical. Are you
I
thinking
forget.
which level is this?
Did you have to complete the win cap level to get the win cap here?
Yeah, you do to unlock it
Okay. Then I
anyway.
am remembering properly that I could not complete parts of this because I did not want to bother completing the win cap level.
Well, you don't have to beat the wing cap level. All you have to do is go to the middle platform and hit the POW switch.
Really?
Yeah,
Dude.
you
Man.
try to get all the red
I
coins.
yeah, towards the end of when I was towards the end of the game, I was thinking I just have to complete this. So
Oh no.
I spent hours doing it. I finally got it, and now I'm being told I didn't even have to do it.
You just had to land on the platform and hit the switch.
Man,
That was I cannot believe you went. I mean, that's one of the more annoying stars to get the red coin level on that wing cap
yeah.
level.
And the worst part is, I remember I watched. I even looked up like a walkthrough on how to do it, and all the walkthroughs had you doing the stars. So like, oh, I just have or not the stars, the coins. Like, oh, I just have to collect all the coins. That kind of sucks,
That's so unfortunate. It's
man.
so unfortunate. That made your probably the whole rest of your playthrough a lot more challenging.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah,
but
like that was the reason why I ended up doing it because I'm like, well, I feel like I just kind of I feel like I almost need it.
well, this is another level that has a boss fight. Did you get the boss fight here?
No, I don't think so. The boss fight was the bird, right?
No,
Or am I thinking of?
there's a okay, so if you do the star, stand on all the four pillars,
Yeah.
it blows up the roof of the pyramid, and then you enter the pyramid, and there's a giant hand boss that's like rock
What?
hands, and it's probably the most like I think well balanced boss because I kept saying like, oh, Bowser's kind of a stupid boss. And it's like, well, N64, they didn't have the power to make a boss that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, the hand boss is cool because it's two giant hands and they punch at you to knock you off a cliff, but then every so often they open up and you have to punch them. And it was a cool
Oh,
boss.
I
And
really wish I
it
played
was
that.
more fun than
Damn.
Bowser. It was more
Damn.
fun than fighting Bowser 3 times with his inexplicable teleporting ability in the second level, but then he doesn't teleport again,
Yeah.
which is really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, his stand power that he forgets to
His
use
stand
later on.
power.
Um, yeah, that was a cool boss. Definitely, this game. There's the whole meme of every copy is personalized, and it really was feeling like that playing this game though. Where I'm like, I don't remember there being a boss here, and
Yeah.
also just weird stuff happening. Um, Not too many other notable stars really in Shifting Sandlands. There's like the whole inside the pyramid, which is kind of like a baby's version of the Lethal Lava Land, like inside the
Hmm.
volcano level.
Yeah, I did go inside of the pyramid, I believe.
Yeah, it's not that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, it was fine.
Then there's Snowman's Land, which neither of us went to, I guess.
I did
Or
go
no,
to
you did.
Snowman's
You
Land.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can all right. Well, describe your experience there because I didn't even see this level.
When I didn't have to deal with the ice, like the ice blocks, it was actually all right. The snow, like the part with the snowman's head, where you had to jump on top of the penguin. That was cool. Because it was like it was very simple, but like little fun little puzzle.
See, I only thought it was in the DS version because I thought the level was too advanced to like be in N64. I don't know what the N64 version was like.
Yeah, I have no
Um,
clue.
but
Or I have no clue. uh, I have no clue how they even thought so many people would just get to this. Like, because it
yeah,
seems like
just
a
putting
very
content in
yeah,
and no one
but
knows.
like looking at the game, right? This is right at the halfway point, so it seems like very important that like they would make you able to play all the levels here. But I don't know.
Yeah, but I think they expected people to getting 100%, getting all the stars because it's their only game. It's a launch title. It like
Yeah,
they're gonna be sitting here playing this game a lot, and plus it's something they talk about in the schoolyard. Like, do you know how to get to the secret? And also,
yeah,
Nintendo Power exists.
yeah. Your
So
one
like they're
friend who
gonna
had Nintendo
talk about it.
Power, sharing his secrets.
Yeah, which is, I mean, there is something to be said about that. That's really fun and cool. Back in the day, like I used to go on like cheatcodes.com and like look for cheat codes and like game facts and like people would put fake hints and put fake stuff and it was cool discovering things. Nowadays, you can look everything up. Like you can look
Hmm.
everything up very explicitly, which is
Yeah,
good in a way, but also kind of ruins some of the magic of
yeah. It ruined
discovery.
some of the discovery. Yeah, but yeah, this
But
level, when you didn't have to go through these like icicles, it was cool because you didn't have to deal with the camera. When you did have to go through the icicles, you had to deal with the fact that the camera just tries to stuff itself in the middle of like the worst place possible while you're doing this very precise platforming stuff. And I don't know. I just got stuck on this for a decent amount of time. I think it was in the deep freeze was the one that I got stuck on for a little bit, and then into the igloo. Those two were just. It was actually camera diff.
oh yeah, no, so like the
Yeah.
camera in the game and again, context, here's the context, a million asterisks like Mario 64 is a good game. Mario 64 is a great game. We understand that it was kind of the first of its kind really. They were really trying to come up with different ways of doing things. But like seriously, the camera, there are moments where the camera just you'll be it's like it's weird cuz it's depth perception
Yeah.
where you'll be making a jump and you think you make it completely and then it just pans over and you completely missed or it pans mid-air and then your control like you'll be jumping and holding forward the camera will automatically pan and then you'll just like mess up your whole jump
Yeah.
and it's really those moments where the camera takes all control away from you and then it starts to lock. But sometimes I've had it where the camera glitches and it locks in a way where it's not supposed to lock, so it's too zoomed in. And I had that happen on Bomb on Battlefield
Hmm.
where I was like in first person, basically going up the mountain. I'm like, I don't think this is what it was supposed to look like. and then I ran away from the area. Then it fixed the camera, and it was like the side of the mountain. I'm like, oh yeah, that was just wacky and broken.
And first person Mario game.
Yeah, no, it was just it was I don't know, the camera was I was saying this in my stream constantly. Just like, I know guys, it sounds like an excuse here, but it really, like, I can't imagine people even back in the day. People back in the day weren't being like, "Well, we have to acknowledge that it's, first of its kind and I'm just happy to play it." They were probably like, "The camera just cheated me and I died." Cuz they're playing this
Well,
game and there's moments that feel pretty BS. But I mean,
yeah.
overall it's serviceable.
I think part of the reason why the cameras feels especially bad for us is because we have third person games with good cameras now.
Mhm.
It's like if you really think like back then there weren't nearly as many like third person platformers, and I think the game really did like pave the way for them a little bit. Showed that
Yeah,
like
mhm.
the camera died for the progression of the genre basically.
Yeah, and I mean, considering how old the game is and considering how revolutionary it still is really serviceable and good. It
Hmm.
just, there are moments where you realize like, oh yeah, they didn't know what they were doing yet, and it just hurt. This section just hurts to play,
Yeah,
which happened a couple of times. But it also feels like the pacing post the second Bowser door. We had so much confidence that we would be able to play and beat the game very quickly because we both beat the first two Bowser doors, I think, within like a day. Like,
yeah,
probably a couple hours. And then the back half of the game after 40 stars is just like twice as long as the first half of the game.
yeah. I think my general comment on the back end of the game is that it requires you to do lots of the things that were optional before, like all the movement things. And it feels like they took a lot of stuff from early on, and just kind of like mashed it together in really weird ways, and everything isn't nearly as linear. And just all these lots of weird new enemies. I think it like throws a lot at you, and it doesn't necessarily feel as fun as the first half, which is why I think it's part of why I think it's less memorable for a lot of people.
I think it is a lot less memorable. I mean, there's certain things like TikTok clock. Like, all right, we're gonna jump around now, and we're gonna talk about all the last levels and kind of jump around.
Hmm.
So wet dry world being the level that is you raise and lower the water level. I
Yeah,
don't think that level is quite that fun. I think a lot of people don't like that level that much.
yeah. Wet Dry World was pretty wonky. I mean,
Yeah.
I just generally found it frustrating at times. Not even exclusively because of that mechanic. Like the blocks that you had to like step on and move, I accidentally like fell off of those a lot.
Hmm. Oh, there's like a spark part. There's like a level where there's like a lightning spirit thing. You have to like stand on the blocks
Yeah,
to like get across.
yeah,
Yeah, it felt like everything in that level almost felt like like pretty much everything going forward that we're going to be talking about stage wise feels like a battle of frustration and wasting your
yeah,
time. Where I think a lot of it stems from we're adults who we're trying to beat the game in a certain amount of time, and if we were kids with infinite time and could keep replaying the level, it
yeah,
wouldn't matter as much. As I'm getting to the very top of Dire Docks. Now there's a really small platform that I need to walk across. I'm walking across it. Oh wait, the camera just turned. I fell all the way to the bottom of the stage. Now I have to walk all the way up to try it again. And then a fire block hits you that they put there just to hit you to annoy you. And then it's like I
yeah,
gotta walk all the way up. It feels like they kind of waste your time a lot toward the end
yeah.
with
In
things like
in
that.
Dire Docks, I actually did kind of like the collect the caps part because it had you
Hmm.
going between like the different caps, which reminds me the vanishing cap level was not very fun. I
Oh, the secret. Well,
yeah,
to unlock it.
I fell off the map so many times.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It is so it was it was wild.
And they spit you out in a weird spot too, right? That's kind of annoying to get back to.
Yeah, and like all the rotating platforms that you had to jump mid air as they're flipping and then jump
Hmm.
again to get up to places. It was man, never want to do it again.
I shockingly did that perfect the first try, and I had difficulties playing that because I had played this game a little bit recently when I did the co-op mod,
Yeah,
and I had played that level, and I remember dying a bunch on that. But I did it perfectly the first time. Then I tried to do the red coins, and then I immediately failed. And I'm like, I'm not getting the red coins there.
Yeah.
And yeah, shoutouts to the the vanishing cap, which I don't remember what the text says, but it probably says something about making you invisible. And then when you get the metal cap, the text says this cap makes you invincible. And it's like you have two caps that sound very similar in effect. Why would you call the metal cap invincible if you have a thing that makes you invisible? If you
Yeah.
glanced at it, wouldn't that confuse the reader? It's just a weird translation thing.
Yeah.
Actually, there's some weird dialogue in this game. Like, I didn't realize when you pick up the rabbit, it just tells you like a straight up Alice in Wonderland like reference.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there was also the monkey. I think the monkey was on Tall Mountain, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Or
Yeah.
was it? Yeah. Yeah. I remember the monkey was just a little weirdo, honestly.
Steals your hat. He steals your
Yeah.
drip. And then so I thought that level I fell off that level so many times, and just I was it was because I kept getting impatient, which I think a lot of the back half of the game, if you were impatient, you would just die and then get
Yeah.
frustrated, and which would lead to more impatience. But once I actually got into a groove, there's like 3 stars that are all at the top of the mountain. It's like the monkey cage and the
Hmm.
one under the waterfall and the one above, and they're all the same thing. So it's
Yeah.
not that bad to do. I thought that stage was okay. I mean, it just kind of felt like filler, to be honest. Kind of a lot of the
Yeah.
stages at the
Definitely.
end did.
Yeah. Tall Mountain felt like it both felt like filler and it just looked very dull to me. I think that kind of stuck out.
Yeah, it was just grass block.
Yeah.
And I mean, Tiny Huge Island, which is the other one. I think that's probably the strong one of the stronger. That's probably the most strong level from
Yeah.
the set of levels before the final 2 levels.
Yeah, even if it's just a bit of a gimmick, like oh everything's either really small or really big. Like I actually really enjoyed just like interacting with that aspect of the level.
Hmm.
I also
I
like
kind
rematching the
yeah,
Koopa.
I kind of had a bad time dying constantly on that level, but I like the concept of it.
Yeah.
And there's also the Wiggler boss there, which I don't know if you did.
Yes, I did do the Wiggler boss.
Yeah, that's a kind of I mean that's the lamest boss because you just I mean to
Yeah,
be
it
fair, he's
is.
not really even an enemy. You just kind of jump on his head a few
Yeah, I
times
just
and
kind
he's
of
like,
beat him
I'm
up.
done.
I felt a little bad.
Yeah, it's like Mario, I'm actually okay now, and then you like stomp him through the net and you just drown him. He's like, I like the sunroof. He's like,
Oh
go
man.
no, yeah no. Tiny Huge Island, pretty good. Oh, James is frozen. I gotta pause. I'm gonna. All right, so James got eaten by the internet warriors, so we're gonna have to do a sync test right now. So I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3. We're gonna clap. 1, 2, 3. Clap sound. We were delayed in our clap. Wait, let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. Clap. Perfect. All right,
Sick.
that'll be. I'm sure that'll sync fine.
Yes.
All right, so yeah, I guess we can talk about TikTok clock, which I think is
Yeah.
probably the strongest of the last set of levels. There's only two
Yeah.
final levels before the Bowser door,
Hmm.
and yeah, what's your opinion on TikTok clock?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. There's a lot. It's just a lot going on in this level, like at all times. I I think that it was one of the cases where the other levels have a lot of chaotic things going on at times, but I think this is one of the cases where they managed it a lot better. I think
Yeah, yeah,
the enemy variety was kind of cool here too.
and there's still a cool gimmick where if depending on I don't remember how it works, but it's like depending on when you enter the painting, the world can be completely time stopped or it can be active,
Yeah,
and
I remember I stumbled upon that and I'm like, what's even controlling this? And I just kind of went through it just because I didn't want to. This was kind of at the point where I'm just thinking I just want to finish the game.
I think we were both really in that mindset of just like, and I don't know if it was because we feel time pressure to record the podcast, or if it is just the game. If you're playing it too much, it does overstay its welcome,
Yeah,
especially if you have other stuff to play in current day. If it was the only game you had, you'd have fun, but I mean, it feels like the ending feels almost. The ending half of the game I think feels a lot weaker than the opening,
yeah,
and you notice that weakness, and then you're just dying on things like the classically fun stage, Rainbow Ride, where I think I may have gotten one
Uh,
star here and never touched it again. I got
same.
100 coin stars instead. I'd rather
Exactly
do
the
anything
same.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you ride a magic carpet. You get all the way to the spot you. I rode a magic carpet all the way to the building where it goes all the way up into like this giant building. It does this huge loop, and
Hmm.
on the inside of the building, one of the fireballs hit me, and I lost the magic carpet, and I was gonna have to restart the whole level, and I just quit and never looked back. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone likes that level, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just not. It's just really not fun.
Yeah. I did the exact same thing. I just got my 1 star and said I'm not coming back.
And it's kind of a shame because it's just like that's the ending of the game. That's kind of the ending half of the game. You do that. If you're me, you BLJ up the staircase for fun because it's fun to do that. And then you do the final Bowser level, which is fine. Did you do the skip in that level where you just backflip off of the? There's like a spinning elevator. And if you just backflip, you just skip like half the level because
No,
it's not even
I
like
didn't.
hidden. It's just it's so close to you. You can just do the like crouching backflip, and you just
They
don't have to do half
encouraged
of the
it.
level. Yeah, it's just like all right, whatever.
And
That
yeah,
was just cutting
I did not.
corners.
I did not personally do that, but I was aware of it.
Yeah. Um I like how we play games so differently. It's like Matt comes in every week. Oh yeah, I skipped half the game with some glitch that I found. It's like, well,
Yeah.
I'm sure this half of the game was probably fun if you played it.
I will say though, for this level, I did figure out you could backwards flip like over Bowser.
Oh yeah.
That made the boss fight a lot quicker.
Yeah, how I beat the boss was I got really frustrated, and it turns out he charges at you if you stand still. So I just had him charge at
Yeah.
me, and then oh, did you? Is that what you were gonna say? You backflipped over him? Then just like I just
No,
walked him into the
I
mine.
just raw backflipped over him most of the time, but I did realize the whole like he charges at you thing in the second boss fight.
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't want to have to land 3 Bowser throws because it was awful. So I had him charge into me, and then I would just have him stand right next to the mine. So when I grabbed his tail, it just instantly killed him anyway. Although I
Yeah.
had to make the last throw, and I missed it so many times. I died a
Yeah,
few times on that fight.
the last throw was diff- a little
I was
difficult.
just like, I want it to be over. Bowser throws are terrible. Even speedrunners hate
Yeah.
them. So long, King Bowser, if you will.
Yep. While we're on the
Um,
topic of the ending, I was very caught off guard by Princess Peach talking. Like that
oh yeah,
that
she talks at the
actually
beginning too.
that actually scared me though, because it had been so long since I'd been at the beginning. I forgot that people like talked in this game.
Yeah, Princess Peach is kind of creepy, like flying down from like
Yeah,
the castle.
yeah,
And
and
I
then she
played a
just
Mario 64 horror game on stream that like used her as the enemy, so
oh
it was
my
extra
god,
extra creepy. Use that model. Um,
yeah,
so
and
did you get really frustrated playing the ending half of this game, like to the point where you're like, man, this sucks. I don't like playing this.
there was actually a point where I considered DMing you on Discord saying that I can't finish.
Yeah, I was also thinking like, oh, I know what the game's ending is. I can just talk about it.
Yeah,
It just wasn't that fun. Like it wasn't. It didn't that the back half of the game. Some of those levels were just so frustrating because it felt like it was wasting your time, and that's I feel like it's
yeah,
tough to say about a game like Mario 64, which is like critically acclaimed classic. Um, but I think if you played it today, and we both don't really have nostalgia for the game,
hmm,
so if you're playing this game full of nostalgia, you could see through the flaws. But if
yeah,
you were playing this game today and you're a kid, first of all, I feel like if a kid was playing this game, I don't think they would really have a good time. Like if they're playing the Switch re-release, because
yeah,
I feel like they would just be too archaic for them and hard. Because I don't know, I can't see someone getting used to those controls. Whereas if they were playing like a Mario 3 or a 2D platformer, I think it's hard, but it could still be doable. I think the
yeah,
3D nowadays cameras are so nice and smooth, and
yeah,
3D movement, everything is so nice that it's so janky that it'd just be hard to see people getting into. And I think that's the whole
yeah. We're just
N64
spoiled.
library. Yeah,
Um,
like I have no nostalgia for the N64, which means any game on there is hard to get into. I think with maybe the exception of like Zelda Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, because I think both of those
Hmm.
games hold up pretty well with some jank, but I think they hold up pretty well. But other stuff, I don't know.
Yeah, I do think that one thing that to consider, and one thing that I considered as I was playing this, is that it's entirely possible that the devs didn't think that everybody should necessarily finish the game. Like they probably thought inevitably there would be a bunch of people that just wouldn't finish, and that may be why there's three Bowser boss fights, because it kind of says like at this point the difficulty may go up. Maybe these people won't continue playing it, and they can feel a little bit of not necessarily closure, but satisfaction that they beat Bowser at some point in this game.
Yeah, fair enough. It does feel like when you beat the game, it doesn't feel like you really beat the game until you get all the stars anyway.
Yeah,
And if you get all 120 stars or whatever, you can get a cannon and get on the roof, and Yoshi's there, and you say hi to Yoshi and all that stuff.
yeah,
But it really just feels like, okay, just keep playing the game. There's more game here. It's just you beat this part of the game.
hmm,
You could just go experience. And I think also it's one of those games where people would just chip away at. And I did
yeah,
that when I played the DS version. You'll be like, "Oh, I'm a kid. I'll do the 100 coin star today. Like I'll chip away at these." And it's a game you can keep coming back to, and you're supposed to play it I think over a long period of time. I
yeah,
think by
definitely.
doing it like in a big burst like we did kind of also didn't help it didn't help the experience. I think rushing
Yeah,
it a bit.
yeah, I agree definitely that the way in which we consume this game was not necessarily how it is intended. So our experience will not necessarily be the intended experience.
Yeah, but I think it's also still fair to say that there are moments in this game that aged poorly, and
Oh yeah, definitely.
people should, if they're really gonna come at us in saying like, "I can't believe you talked a little bit badly about that game," I mean, they should just replay it and do those parts of the
Yeah,
game, like replay it past. Here's kind of the deal: once you play a game like this, it's kind of an older game. If a lot of times, and I've done this, you'll revisit it, you'll play the first few worlds, and then you'll just turn it off and never play it again.
yep,
So you're super nostalgic for that. And then the entire back half of the game is like a complete mystery, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that."
yeah.
But yeah, any final Mario 64 related thoughts? I guess anything about the game at all?
Uh, People played games differently back then. We play games very differently now. The way we play games now is better. Games now are better. We're better.
And
Old
I'm
people
excited
suck.
for Mario 66 with the battle pass. I mean, that is one of the things to talk about though. Like it's a video game ass video game
Yeah,
compared to nowadays where you know you get half the content or whatever.
yeah. I
But
guess there is a little bit of that missing like immersion of like yeah, I'm playing a video game. Like it doesn't care about the rules, things like that.
the things in this game that make it charming also make it bad sometimes. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of that jank versus charming jank that
Hmm.
But I think my overall experience was positive, and I think you should check it out again if you haven't played it in a while. But if you ever feel like you want to stop playing, just turn it off. You know,
Yeah.
get your Mario fill like really slowly, and if you feel like playing it, turn it back on. It don't. I don't think you have to beat this game. I think you can kind of just take it at your own pace.
Hmm. Yeah. Like there's no obligation to complete the game like we had.
Yeah. All right, let's move into viewer mail. Now, we're looking a little sparse on viewer mail today, so I'm going to pull up some random internet podcast questions because I think they're funny sometimes. If you want to send us a message, you can send it. Most conveniently, we'll read it at HYEP podcast at gmail.com. That is HYEP podcast at gmail.com.
Yep. Podcast.
Otherwise, what's up?
Yep. Podcast.
Oh, the HYEP podcast, yeah. Also on the Discord and stuff like that, but I might not see it on the Discord. But we actually do have a question from the Discord. which was what games did you like as a child but don't like anymore? And I think I
Hmm.
can kind of start that off if you want to think about it.
Yeah.
Now, I think maybe just off the cuff, maybe the Pokemon games. And to be specific, anything that is like kind of I fell off of Pokemon at, let's see, X and Y. I played, and that was kind of the last one I really played and enjoyed. Have kind of played all the way up to Sword and Shield, and I played Sword and Shield. I'm like, this is kind of trash. But
Hmm.
if I'm thinking nostalgic Pokemon games, the only childhood Pokemon game I had was Leaf Green, which I really liked. And then I missed Emerald, which that generation,
Hmm.
Ruby and Sapphire, which is people really like that. And then I played the DS. I played Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, and I really liked Platinum. And
Hmm.
that game has a lot of issues. As a kid, I really liked Platinum. Playing it, trying to play that game now, you'll notice that like in the DS games, it has like so slow when you attack an enemy. Uh, their health bar is goes down so slow, and there's so many like slow
Hmm.
things. But there's still exploration in that game that's really good. It's kind of boring. And also, once you've played one Pokemon game and you played like 8 of them, it gets old, you know? I don't know if you share the same
Yeah.
Pokemon opinion.
Yeah. The last Pokemon game I played was I think Pearl. I think I had Diamond and my brother had Pearl. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, and I do have fond memories of it, but I can acknowledge I don't really wish to revisit it.
Oh, I think James died again. 1 second. I think the Mario 64 fans are hacking into the broadcast cuz that's our second drop tonight. But you were talking about Pokemon Pearl.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I'm not too crazy about revisiting the Pokemon games. I'll let it live on as a childhood memory. But since you did mention games that are kind of samey, and once you played one, you played them all. I do. My answer is actually Call of Duty.
Oh wow.
I used to love the Call of Duty games as a kid, like especially like Black Ops and Modern Warfare 2. I played those a lot. Now, actually, like in real time, every year, I slowly liked them less and less. And I think once I got to Call of Duty Ghosts, I'm like, yeah, I never want to play these games again.
It's kind of funny because I had a similar but now inverse experience where I played like Modern Warfare 2 and then Black Ops, and then I think I stopped at Black Ops 2, and
Hmm.
I was like, these aren't for me. And then recently, as far as Cold War, I think it was on sale and I bought it. And I was like, I haven't played a Call of Duty game in years, and I had a lot of fun playing it. It was just kind of
Hmm.
dumb. And I'm even considering like maybe I'll buy Modern Warfare 2 too, but
Yeah.
it's $70 and I'm not buying it for that price. Maybe when it goes on sale, I'll buy it.
I think the Call of Duty games are kind of good, like meme games. Like they're games you play like when you're with your friends when you're drunk or something.
Oh, exactly. That's like their perfect application. And sometimes you want that though in a game. It's junk food. It's a
Yeah.
junk food video game, and that's
Yeah.
not bad. I have a
Uh,
lot more respect for Call of Duty now than I used to, because there was a time, I think when you're a kid, the thing you like that then becomes like, oh, it's like it's so stinky to play Call of Duty. And it's funny, we saw that with Minecraft a little bit on Reddit.
yeah.
People, there was a time period where everyone was like, "Yay, Minecraft's great," and then there was a time period, I don't know if you remember this, where everyone on the internet was like, "Minecraft is bad," and everyone was like, "Fortnite good," and then
Yeah, I
people
remember
went
that. And then
completely opposite and were like,
yeah,
"Fortnite bad, Minecraft good."
yeah, Minecraft struck back.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But
It
yeah.
Minecraft is insane because that was like a childhood game for me, and
Hmm.
now is still a childhood game for like an entire generation of people.
Yeah, I feel like
Um,
every Discord server, I mean, there's always a point where they say like, we should start a Minecraft server.
I've done that so many times. I did that for
Yeah.
my Twitch stream too, and it didn't pan out very well because I get way too invested in the modding and like plugins, and then it becomes a job, and I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, Minecraft. I bought Minecraft when it was still you had to like go to Notch's PayPal and like DM him basically
What?
to get it. Yeah,
Oh
no,
my
I
god! You actually had
so
to do that?
yeah, you go on Notch's PayPal, you buy the game in like the Swedish krona. Is it krona or whatever? Like whatever the
Oh my
Swedish currency
god!
was, and it was super like sketchy. and I'm glad I did it. So I believe
Huh.
I saw on G4 TV when that was on TV still. I saw them playing Minecraft. I'm like, I have to play it, and I went to the website, and there was Minecraft Classic, which was free, but it was just nothing. It was build mode, so it was
Hmm.
garbage. And I
Yeah.
was like, I have to play survival. Like, I have to play this. So I bit the bullet and was able to get Minecraft by going on this PayPal, and I was playing it, and I was hooked. Like, if Minecraft came out probably earlier and was more acceptable, like I remember distinctly the Halloween that year I wanted to go as like Steve from Minecraft, and nowadays you could go to like Target and there's Minecraft Legos. When I was a boy, we had it rough. No, you weren't seeing that. You had to do like some homebrew stuff. But it is crazy that became such a big game.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw Minecraft Legos. I'm like, damn, I'm old.
Yeah, and I was like,
'Cause-
I wish I mean I could still enjoy them now, but I would
yeah,
have enjoyed them more as a kid. I would have went crazy. It
yeah.
feels like it's so nice to be a kid in some ways if you like video games now, because there's so much merchandise targeted towards you. Like when I was younger,
Hmm.
like you kind of had like Mario stuff, maybe
God, I remember
like a shirt.
sometimes I would play a game and like, "Ugh, I wish I could have this like in my hands. Like, I
Oh
wish I
yeah,
could like,
like a physical version.
yeah, like something physical. And then it wasn't there, and now I'm like, wow, everything. There's a physical version of everything now. I can have my Apex Legends action figures.
Yeah, I wonder how my life would be different if I was growing up during a time of like esports and like
Hmm.
would I have wanted to do something like that, or just
Yeah.
how obsessed I would have been with. Like I know for a fact that I probably would have been obsessed with like Fortnite and all those games, like all games that are super obsessive right now. But I never really got into them nowadays. Like I don't get into them, but you know there's certain things. I mean, actually, I will talk about Roblox a bit. Like that again, that was another thing as a kid that was relevant for me, and it's pretty
Hmm.
cool and kind of crazy that that's still like a super popular kids thing. Like I was playing that game in '08, and yeah, it's still going strong today. And I'll hop on there every now and again. It's a completely different game. It is
Hmm.
interesting to see what people are up to. Although there's some corrupt there's some corrupt usage of children's time making games and then taking their money and paying them out in Robux and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've read a couple articles on the Roblox controversies.
Yeah, I will stand by its use as a tool for education though, because it does get a lot of people into computer programming. Same thing with
Yeah.
Neopets did that with HTML. Just giving kids an excuse to learn programming to make games and stuff like that. And I'm sure they go on later to be programmers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do
Uh,
think this is definitely a tangent, but Halo Infinite, I don't know if they released their Forge mode or if they're close to releasing it, but they do have like a visual scripting thing going on. And I thought that was really cool. Um I've seen on Twitter like a couple of people making some crazy things like that. There's like an arcade game in somebody's Forge level. Yeah, I'm always down for that kind of stuff. It's just really awesome putting both putting more power in the community's hands and also letting them teach themselves a bit about like what making a game or even making a game mode actually looks like.
Yeah, and you never know when you'll get the next like Dota or Counter Strike or Team Fortress or any of those games. Like I guess
Yeah.
I guess Battle Royale, kind of like the biggest thing of all time for a long time,
Hmm.
came out of modding and stuff like that. And it does make you wonder what the next like big thing is. I mean, I guess auto chess is kind of fairly new. That's kind of a
Yeah.
genre that took off.
Yeah, I do think it's a little less popular in like America too. Like I know those are big and like a lot bigger in like Asia and stuff like that. Like, I
Hmm.
remember when Dota auto chess was blowing up, you would see like they were breaking records for their player numbers, and you'd see it's literally God like at some point half of the players that were online at a time were in like China, and they were
Yeah,
just playing auto chess.
I'm not a huge auto chess fan, although it just doesn't itch the same kind of things I want out of a game. There's a lot of that stuff where I want more like I don't know. I kind of like more single player experiences too. A lot of the time, or just grindy kind of stuff. I don't know. Auto chess never really did it for me.
Yeah, I never
Same
got
thing with
too
like
into
some
it
card
either.
games and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, someone in the Discord said Tack and the Power of Juju, which I thought was a really good one because I also remember being like, I rented that game and then regretting that I returned it because I'm like, oh, it was too hard for me as a kid. I guess I couldn't figure something
Yeah,
out.
I had the same experience. It was too hard for me as a kid. I couldn't get past like some very early part, and I'm like, well, I don't like this. I don't want to play it anymore. And I think they didn't let me return it at GameStop for some reason, so I just kind of held on to it. I'm like, wow, I just have to stare at this and know it. This game beat me.
Oh god, that reminds me a little bit of what. So when I was a kid, there was the debate: do I get the GBA version of this game or do I get the PS2 version of the game? Now
Hmm.
nowadays, if you get the Switch version versus the PC, whatever, it's not going to be that different of a game. But
Yeah.
back in the day, a GBA
Oh yeah.
port compared to a PS2 game is a very different experience. And it was for
Yes.
SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, a game that people love. Uh, that game, I never. So I had the option, the PS2 version or the Game Boy version. I
Hmm.
foolishly chose the Game Boy version because I could play it then. I think I was like, I could play it now on my Game Boy,
Oh
and
no.
I vividly remember popping in the game, being in the mall, playing it for 2 seconds, hating it, taking the game out and like whipping it across the mall and like having a tantrum because I was like, I don't know how old I was, very young,
Man.
and it just being a whole issue. And I was like, I immediately regretted the choice, and I had never played Battle for Bikini Bottom, the good version, for years until the remake.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was a big choice back in the day. I don't know if you had anything like that where you did you ever play like movie tie-in games or something and just get
Yeah.
like really sad?
Yeah. A lot. I remember like the Transformers movie games were they're very low effort, but like there's something in them that made me want to like keep playing them. Because when I play with my friends, and it's like there were always these moments that just felt really satisfying. Like, yes, this is a Transformers fantasy right here. And
The
then I would
DS
spend
ones?
no the ones that were on like Xbox 360.
Hmm.
I think I did play one of the DS ones, but I don't remember it very well. But yeah, like those ones had like online multiplayer, and it was so weird. Like I remember, I think it was the one for the second movie. Like I think it was Revenge of the Fallen. To like drive around, you had to hold down right trigger, and it like you would transform and drive around while you're holding down right trigger. And then when you let go, you would transform back, and it was just so janky because like it was also you would also like shoot using right trigger, but you had to ADS to shoot it all. Like you couldn't hip fire.
It's so
It
weird.
was it was just wonky.
All right, I think we'll end with Wonk because we're almost over time here.
Wonk.
Yeah, Wonk City. Yeah, but I've been Matt, aka Matt Fondude, and you've been. Who have you been? Wait, can you do it again like you did in the intro? Who have you
Sure.
Who have you been?
I've been James, aka James 04E.
And that's how he's gonna talk for the rest of the podcast, for the rest of all time. Actually, vote now. Call on your phone 7877-222 James' new voice. Call now. Vote one. Press one if you want James to always do the British voice, or press two if you want him to only sometimes do the voice. Dial in on your Zune phone. I think we end the podcast here. Bye.